Hi, welcome to my channel. Sounds weird, but magical. Like I'm finally freaking doing this. When I first broached the idea of this channel to my husband, he was skeptical. Of course he was. He's the reason to my insanity, the calm to my storm. He thinks, and I do. The nice girl to pick up the messy pieces afterwards, but eh. But after having a friend tell me that I taught her strength by living my life out loud, no fear of abandonment, I knew I had to, live the how out loud too. I wasn't always like this. Well, that's partially true. I've always been loud and sometimes crass with my opinions, but I haven't always been such an open book about my inner struggles, the things we face behind closed doors, the things we don't want people to know or see. But all that changed after what I now refer to as Operation Self-Implode 2019 version. But let's back up a bit. Like everyone, my story is hard to put a label on. Some days it's tragic, some days it's comedic. It can be adventurous or romantically sentimental, or even a story of overcoming something that was meant to destroy me. Yet by the grace of God, I came out on the other side, all the better for it. My story is 1000% dependent on which chapter I'm on, whether I'm nourishing my body properly, the weather, or even the time of month that it is. The one thing that remains steadfast now is a circle that I've meticulously cultivated for myself. I'll take a quick second to introduce you, as they will likely become an integral part of this channel, as they are to my story. First, my husband Travis, as I mentioned above and previously, he is Mr. Logical. He's already thought of 100 different scenarios that could happen before I even finish my sentence. And he has a plan for each and every one of them. He's thoughtful and deep. He's also the smartest person I know, but please don't tell him that. He can literally fix anything as long as it's his idea to fix it. You'll see some super interesting and fun homesteading projects happening around here, thanks to him mostly. He's steadfast and unequivocally loyal, and he's stubborn. He's enlightened, and he's bruised, just like me. My firstborn, Emma Jane, I've learned more about myself in being her mom than in every other facet of my life combined. Our story is far from perfect, but like anything, we found beauty and growth in the struggle. We're still learning. Our middle chick, Avea Dixie, we jokingly call our broke best friend, and you'll soon learn why. But I truly would be lost without her. She's kind of the best. The baby, who's 10, Isabella Lorne, our zany, fun-loving gal. She absolutely is all that's good in this world. She will likely be front and center on this channel, as she is always up for an adventure. My best friend Sarah, she was the first person in the world that cracked my hard exterior shell. Though I am sure there are days she regrets that. She allows me to show up messy and raw and unapologetically me. Not sure what I did to deserve her, but she is at the top of every grateful list I make. Okay, now that we know the who, let's get into the why. Why do I portray the character of strength, as my friend put it? Why am I so vocal about sharing our stories and heartaches and setbacks just as easily as I share our triumphs, hits, and home runs? Why does our highlight reel resemble more of a Grecian play filled with war and peace, good and bad, highs and lows, when it's more proper to act as if everything is perfect? Put the filter on everything. Because the latter makes me want to vomit. I do not want to make anyone feel like my life is perfection when they're trapped in the perils of hurt. So I share. I haven't always, but I remember when I was at my lowest of lows, looking on my social media at the seemingly perfect life everyone but me seemed to have. It made me feel worse. You see, I was born into a life where appearances were everything, and yet nothing was as it appeared. So I learned to keep up appearances for, appearance's sake. No one knew the truth, so I locked myself up, kept everyone at a distance, and I felt safe. If I didn't let people get close to me, they couldn't hurt me, right? I did this for decades. I had always pushed everyone away, but then I let Sarah into my inner world and opened up bit by bit, learning that it was okay to be raw and open and vulnerable. as we started to share more than the typical superficial Catholic school mom gossip and bullshit like what new handbag we should buy or what activity Johnny was in that week. Which led me to meeting Travis and being even more vulnerable, which led me to have my entire house of cards fall. Enter scene, Operation Self-Implode 2019 version. I had up to this point curated the perfect life on the outside. Beautiful, kind, successful daughters, a beautiful home on the water, a stellar corporate career that most would kill for, a handsome knight in shining armor. Well, more like a bald guy in flannel, but you get the point. The thing is, though, my insides were ugly from years of being shut down and closed off. And I wanted my inner being to be the same as my outer facade, but years and years of learned self-destructive behavior, I just couldn't get there. And I broke. Part of my story is I joined the Marines at 17 because I had always felt it was a perfect fit for me. I'd always considered life a battle of survival, so might as well get paid for it, right? But once my house of cards fell, I simply realized surviving wasn't the answer anymore. And that terrified the shit out of me. I'm talking crying on the floor, can't get out of bed, didn't even want to shower, broke and scared. Now, my job required therapy in order to approve my leave of absence, and for the first time, I had to take a hard look at me. The first thing I learned was how strong I was, but I could use that for good rather than for appearing to do it all. And then I mourned all those wasted years of unimportant small talk when I was truly craving deeper connections with people, and all the wasteful efforts I'd used up building up that wall between my brokenness and the world. Fearful that they might cause more pain than I was already in if I let someone in. And how repulsive would they find me if they knew the truth? Through therapy, I also learned that it was okay to admit that being a mom, a wife, and dealing with all the shit that life throws at us was fucking hard. I then wondered, do other people feel that way too? All these revelations, coupled with years of wearing that heavy battle gear to avoid being seen, now being let go, a weight was lifted. I decided instead to wear those inside parts, that shame I once held, my newfound vulnerability as my battle gear instead. So after digging through all the generational trauma and self-induced chaos that I had caused, I am at the point I want to do something meaningful outside of this carefully cultivated circle of mine. Maybe use my stories, our stories, as a PSA that it's okay to have ugly bits that we're not fond of. That in laying down the fake bullshit we share with everyone because we are afraid they won't like the real us, the raw us, that we won't measure up. So that's why I'm here, sharing our victories and struggles. There's definitely a lot to prove that love is all you need and that together we can accomplish hard things. Follow along, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the YouTube-y things. If you need a fearlessly frank truth teller who doesn't filter crap, because raw is where it's at, folks. Together we can lay down our armor to 1, quit shielding our true selves, 2, end competing with the Joneses. Who the hell are they anyways? And stop striving for false illusions of perfection, thus building a beautiful life for us, our families, and communities. Let's do this, y'all. Until next time, keep it real. Bye.